Update. Am I the a-hole for not accepting my sister's relationship with my ex despite her having cancer as a teenager? Am I the a-hole for ruining the family vacation by refusing to go to dinner after my husband laughed at his cousin's joke and telling him to take his mistress instead? Am I the a-hole for spending money I saved for a trip with my dad when he wanted to include his stepdaughter?
Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started.
Update. Am I the a-hole for not accepting my sister's relationship with my ex despite her having cancer as a teenager? I was asked for an update and thus, here I am. 2 things to clarify before I update. I didn't have a shitty childhood. The favoritism started when my sister was diagnosed. I moved out soon after and have been pretty independent since then. Not saying that how my parents treated me during those years were a-okay, but I wasn't Cinderella. I did not drink myself into oblivion. I had 2 white wine spritzers. But I appreciate the concern from folks. Anyhow, the update. I got in touch with my sister and asked her to meet up again at a park, no bill involved. I asked her if she was pregnant and she told me the truth. She said she wanted us to still be in each other's lives and that she wanted me to be in her babies. A Redditor, and I forget who, I'm sorry, mentioned that she may ask me to be the godmother and that person was correct. But as many of you pointed out, if I didn't cut her off, I'd just become her bank and daycare employee. So I told her I could no longer be in her life. And I left her crying on a park bench and felt like the shittiest person in the world. I emailed my parents and told them how betrayed I felt and that I'd be cutting off contact with them. To my stepmom's credit, she apologized. She explained that she never thought my sister would live to have kids and that she let her emotion over that get the better of her. Understandable. My dad said nothing, which is honestly what sucked the worst about all of this. Ben tried messaging me from a burner account for the first time since the breakup, but I blocked him without reading it. I didn't go nuclear and post the story to Facebook as some suggested, but I sent an email to the extended family members who I care about. I explained the situation and how I'd be distancing myself from my family. Some have made it an us versus them situation, and as much as I appreciate the support, feeling like I'm in some valiant battle just makes me more tired. So I haven't been talking to much of anyone in my family. I feel lonely and crappy, but I think I made the right decision. Anyhow, not the most exciting update in the world, but hopefully everyone knows that I'm not dead. I do really appreciate the support I've gotten. It made me smile during a really shitty time. And hey, if anyone in the greater Boston area wants an extra guest at Thanksgiving, let me know. Am I the a-hole for ruining the family vacation by refusing to go to dinner after my husband laughed at his cousin's joke and telling him to take his mistress instead? I found out after we were already married that it's very common for the older generation of men in my husband's family to keep mistresses as long as they're discreet about it and don't have any outside babies. We went on vacation with my husband's family, including his sister, cousins, and their spouses. My sister-in-law needed to get some new clothes because she was supposed to leave earlier than the rest of us but decided to stay. While we were shopping, the shop assistant was flirting with my husband. His cousin James made jokes about adding her to my husband's collection of girls in every country and how he always said a leopard never changes his spots and he knew marriage couldn't stop my husband. My husband and his other male cousins thought it was the funniest thing ever. I didn't find it so funny and neither did his sister, who told James to shut up. In the evening we were supposed to go for dinner and my husband noticed I wasn't getting ready, so he asked me to hurry up. I told him I didn't want to go. We had an argument where he was saying James was just joking. I told him I didn't find it funny, and he could take his mistress to dinner instead. He kept insisting he didn't have a mistress and that James was just making a dumb joke and he was sorry for laughing, but I refused to budge. In the end, none of the other girls went to dinner with them. We all ended up going somewhere together and wouldn't let them come with us. For the rest of the vacation my sister-in-law insisted we would treat it like a girls' trip and the boys could do whatever they wanted without us. My husband was pissed at me for overreacting to a joke and ruining the family vacation, especially since James apologized too, but things didn't go back to normal. Was I the a-hole? Am I the a-hole for spending money I saved for a trip with my dad when he wanted to include his stepdaughter? Back in February 17 female, Asked my dad if we could take a weekend trip for Halloween to this haunted house event the two of us have talked about going to before. He said he wasn't sure he could afford it, but if I saved enough money we could go. He was going to cover some of it too. I actually saved up the money by early September and told him as much. He then brought up the subject about how cool it would be to include his stepdaughter, 14, and it would be a nice bonding trip for all three of us. He asked me how I felt about that and I told him I didn't want to include her, I wanted it to be just the two of us. He asked why and I told him we never do stuff just the two of us anymore and I want that time with him. He said I get plenty of time with his wife. I said she's not him. That I wanted more time for him and me, not everyone together, not me and his wife or me and his stepdaughter. He told me okay it could be just us. Then his wife blabbed because he didn't tell her I had said no. Then his stepdaughter wanted to go and he told me he couldn't say no to her after that. So I told him to forget it. I bought myself some stuff with the money I had saved. This upset my dad and his wife and his stepdaughter. My dad and his wife told me I responded like a child instead of an almost adult. His stepdaughter said I was so mean, why would I do that? She was looking forward to spending the weekend with us at the haunted house. I told my dad I saved it for the two of us to go alone. But he has made it clear he doesn't want that time with just me anymore, and since that's how he feels I am sick and tired of time with his family. That he shouldn't worry because I will be gone soon and he can spend all the time he wants to with them, and the childish and mean one won't be living here in a few months. He asked why I couldn't just wait and do something else with him. Why spend the money? Why break the plans like that? It's not the first time I have tried to do something with him and he automatically involved everyone or just his stepdaughter in it. And I even told him I missed hanging out just him and me. It doesn't do shit. I know his wife is upset because her daughter is hurt because she knows how badly I didn't want her there and she's also not going now. Am I the a-hole here?